Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Joe Knowledge YouTube channel. My name is Joe, and I am your host. And today, once again, we're talking men's K-State basketball. Another big win at home against Texas Tech. K-State wins again, 58-68. Pretty nice game. It was, I would call a messy game, kind of messy to start. Seemed like K-State didn't have the normal energy that we've grown to expect from K-State teams this year, and things kind of got off to a slow start. I think towards the end of the first half, K-State began to relinquish the lead. I think it was some back and forth at the beginning of the game, and at halftime, K-State was down. What was it? 33-28 at the half. So, this was an opportunity, I think, for Texas Tech to try and catch K-State kind of sleeping. Big win, last game against KU. And, it would have been easy for K-State to lay an egg during this game, especially at home. And, K State did a pretty good job of bringing it together towards the end of the game. Let's see, what do we got here? Keontae Johnson has a pretty nice game here. He's double double. Okay, he's 15 points, 11 rebounds. Very nice game. He started a little slow. I don't think he took too many shots in the first half. I think we really needed him in the second half, and he came through quite well. Marquise Noel has a big game. He'd been somewhat of a sleeper the last couple of games, and so he comes back today with a 23-point performance, 8 rebounds. Pretty impressive for a shorter guy at 5'8". He able to grab 8 rebounds in this game. Goes off for 23 points. 4 for 11 from three-pointer, so he's back to hitting his threes again. Pretty nice. I think we really needed that this game. Really nice to see Masood come together. I think he's really showing up in these games. He hit two of three pointers and 5 of 6 from the field, and he scores 12 points in this game. Quite nice. He's becoming quite the sharpshooter. You really want to see him shoot the 3-pointer. He makes them quite often. Very nice to see. And for a big man, very nice change up to see him stretch the floor with his 3-point shooting. Let's see what else we got. Percentage wise, average. All right, 42.6% field goal percentage, 32% from the 3-point. So, we were there. Somewhat of a lower scoring game for K-State, right? Only scoring 68 points in the game. But I think what we saw was the game really started off slow. I think maybe for both teams. It was quite messy. You saw kind of a lot of turnovers at the beginning of the game, a lot of missed shots. Ball knocked around out of bounds. It kind of took a while for, I think, both teams to settle in and really start to play well, as the game progressed. I think what we saw in the second half, after being down in that first half, K-State really dialed up the defense. Really dialed up the defense. There was a time there where in that second half, K-State went down by something like 8 points there in the middle of the second half. And in many cases, former K-State teams would probably just keel over and lose a game like this. But I think we saw some extremely great resolve from this team to say, look, we refuse to lose. All right. And Texas Tech is coming in here. That was a nice dunk there. Okay. Texas Tech coming into this game, 0-6, right, in Big 12 play. And they're looking for some wins here. They're not a bad team. And they've played a lot of teams close. So, Texas Tech was motivated. And K-State came out to play. What else we got? Some really nice plays. Just individual type of plays. Marquise Noel, very athletic guy. He's throwing no look passes for assists. Nice to see that. Nice to see some flair in the game. Tomlin, gets a few dunks here and there. So for the fans, that's nice to see, right? It's still 2 points, 2 points, or 2 points, right? But real nice to see some flair in the game. Very entertaining to watch. It makes this team very entertaining to watch. Let's see. So, couple of things outside of this game. All right, KU lose big to TCU today by 23 points. So if you look at our standings here, you can see K-State sitting alone at the top of the Big 12 right now. Not only did KU lose, but Iowa State lost as well to Oklahoma State today. So K-State alone at the top of the Big 12 at 6-1, and so we're looking nice right now. All right. Like I always hear the coaches say, right? We have to still finish this thing out, but right now, K-State is on the way to winning the Big 12. One thing that I think, I watched the press conference with Coach Tang, and of course, you get all these questions like, were you expecting the team to come out, this strong, this early, in your tenure? What do you think of the start and how the players, have adjusted to this? And, Coach Tang keeps, basically reiterating that it's not, I don't want to say it's early because it's pretty far in the season, but if you lose the next 3-4 games, right, after winning, going 6-1, if you lose the next 4 games, it changes the narrative. Okay, so, I like how he's focusing, not just, he's focusing on what's next. He's not necessarily focusing too much on where they are right now. You can enjoy that for the moment, but if you've played any kind of sport and you've gone through a season, okay, you can start strong, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, or whatever, right? But if you've got 10, 12 games in a season and you lose the rest of your games, things completely change, okay? And the talk and the narrative surrounding your team completely changes. So the players have to keep a level head about this. And I like how Coach Tang does that in the press conferences. He keeps things level, and he makes sure that he doesn't come across too, I don't want to say excited because it's okay to be excited, but he's pushing the narrative that, look, I understand that we've done well and that's great, but there's still more to be done, right? One thing I really like about Coach Tang and how he addresses his press conference questions is he generally always takes responsibility for the things that may have gone wrong in the game. Press folks will ask him, hey, what do you think about the defense or the turnovers, or so-and-so team scored this many points on you and you weren't able to score this many points. And what's great about him is he always, his reasoning behind it is always, us as the staff didn't put our players in the right positions, or the play that I ran wasn't, right for the situation that we were in. And he never wants to put the accountability on the players, right? And we get it. The players are the ones on the court, and they're the ones that need to execute the plays. And many times it could be that a player didn't do what the coach needed them to do. But most of the time, Coach Tang will never really say that. I think it's important for him to keep his players confident. And I think if a coach talks, too negatively about maybe what a player did wrong, even if it was their fault, it can affect their confidence. And so these are young guys, right? And you want to keep them confident to keep playing because you need them to win the next game. So I really like how he does that. I think he does a really good job of that. Look at the game flow here. You kind of see how in that second half, K-State put the clamps down defensively there. There's a long stretches of time when Iowa State didn't score a point. And that allowed K-State to make this comeback here in the second half and pull away and win by 10. I think, and you really didn't see anything change, I think, in schematically and what they were doing. It just looked like they dialed up the intensity and they brought the energy, and something that you didn't really see at the beginning of the game. So, I think this team is capable of flipping switches when they need to. And they could have just walked to a victory if Texas Tech would have allowed it, but Texas Tech wasn't going to allow it. Okay, they were going to make K-State make K-State work for this, and K-State had to dial up the energy there in the second half, and they did. It was great to see that. Let's look at the team stats. Texas Tech took a lot of shots, 71 shots. Didn't really seem like they took that many shots, but that's a lot of shots to take. But 23 out of 71. So K-State a little more effective in field goal percentage. You might say, what was the difference here in the game? I think free throws are something to take note of. 20 of 27 free throws. So K-State scores 20 points on free throws versus 5 points for Texas Tech. So K-State definitely getting to the foul line a lot in this game and making them pay. All right, hitting 74.1% of those. Otherwise, things were fairly even. Texas Tech gets a few more rebounds, but in a lot of cases, Texas, a lot of the teams will be bigger than K-State and be able to get more rebounds. So that's okay. But everything else seemed pretty level, with the exception of those free throws. I think, K-State really was able to move ahead and make the difference with those free throws. So, all right, Tuesday coming up, Iowa State. All right, Iowa State, that's going to be a huge game. I think it's at Iowa State. And, hey, Iowa State sitting there, at that log jam and at number 2 there in the conference. So this is going to be a big game, okay? And K-State's going to have to be ready for this one. Iowa State comes to play, okay? And they're a really, really good team. So K-State's going to have to be ready for that. Also, we get David Kassan back. He plays 4 minutes today. He'd been hurt for the last, 4 or 5 weeks or so. So he's back in the fray. All right. Didn't score any points. Missed a couple of free throws. All right, but he was our guy. I think one of the top scorers there the first few games. He was beginning to assert himself as a real weapon on the team before he got hurt. So really nice to see him back. And he's a big too. So he's a bigger guy, and we need as much size as we can get. Okay, because that seems to be, one of our Achilles heels, right? In on our team is the fact that we lack, true bigs. So it's good to see him back. What else we got? That's really it, right? I mean, this game, it was a slow mover at first. It picked up. K-State was threatened there in the second half, but was able to pull out a nice win. I think the defense came to play. Defense was dialed in that second half, and you can see there how Texas Tech was really having problems scoring there in that second half. K-State was dialed in defensively and was able to shut things down and get the win. Next week, Iowa State, okay? And it's away. I think we go to Iowa State. We go to Ames to play them. We got to be ready for this. We got to be ready. K-State can win this, okay? And that would set the tone. If K-State can go ahead and get that win, all right, I mean, we're going to move ahead. Obviously KU and KU's right there, and they maybe have to drop a couple more, maybe. But K-State's really sitting in the driver's seat at first place right now, and can continue that effort with a win at Iowa State next week. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching.